ġasmajtu ħafna fuq dan ir-raġel, għandna l-onur li jkollna lilu hawnhekk, dana huwa fil-fatt mill-Iskozja, se jitkellem bl-Ingliż, però. Kien għal ħafna snin membru tal-Parlament fil-Ingilterra, imma kien politiku naqra mqareb, għaliex il-sienu ma tantx għandu ħajta fil-sienu u dan daħlu f'inkwiet kbir ma' Blair, mal-Partit Laburista stess, tant li Blair, ħaġa li ma semmix fil-fatt Sami kien keċċieħ mill-partit, akkużat li qed iwaqqa l-unur tal-Ingilterra. Mbagħad kien għamel partit waħdu flimkien oħrajn li kien jismu il-Partit tar-Rispett. U ma damx sentej u nofs tal-partit imma kien mod kif ikompli isemma leħnu. Dana għandu tradizzjoni twila mill-Iskozja ta' kontra il-gwerra, dik kienet kwistjoni kbira ta' prinċipju dak iż-żmien, imma mbagħad oppona diversi affarijiet oħrajn u sa xehet kemm fil-qorti rati u parlamenti Ingliżi u anki fl-Amerika fuq negozjati li ma kienux suppost isiru. Huwa jagħti appoġġ kbir lil seħibna Jeremy Corbyn u minn hawnhekk inselmu lil Jeremy Corbyn fl-Ingilterra. U għalkemm ma jaqblux għal kollox xulxin, ħseb is-Sur Galloway għadu eżempju ta' kif partit jibqa' jikkritika lilu nnifsu biex jibqa' jikber dejjem. Qatt ma jista' jgħid wasanna imma dejjem jibqa' jikber. Għalikom is-Sur Galloway, George Galloway.
Brother Mark, Your Excellency, former Prime Minister of Malta, Dr. Bonici, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, it is an honor, a signal honor, to be in your presence today in this historic place, commemorating this historic occasion. As for the introduction and what Brother Sami shouted from a sedentary position, I never understood why being an outspoken politician should be in any way remarkable. What would be the point of a politician who wasn't outspoken? What is the reverse of an outspoken politician? An unspoken politician, or a politician who speaks not from their heart that which they believe, but speaks the words given to them by someone else. And today I got to thinking about some historic figures. The first of them was my great compatriot Sir Paul McCartney of the Beatles, and the song that he wrote, "Those were the days, those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end," he wrote. We remember the days when Malta stood firm as a rock in the Mediterranean under fascist bombardment in the Second World War. We remember the days of the great Dom Mintoff and Dr. Bonici, when the word Malta, when the name of Malta was on everybody's lips in the world. People who, with all respect to you, had never thought about Malta before, suddenly realized that on the map there was a place called Malta, populated by men and women who could see clearly the reality of the world. Mintoff's Helsinki Declaration will live forever because it asserted important things that we are discussing here today. We remember the days when the workers took control of their own destiny, when blacksmiths became ship's pilots, when dock workers became admirals, and when the mighty Ark Royal was stopped in its tracks by the dock workers of Malta. And this is a lesson, you see. The workers' labor is the source of all wealth in this world. Look around you. Everything that you see, everything you will touch today, every service you receive today will have been provided by workers. Without the workers, nothing can happen. And when the workers take control of their own destiny, anything and everything can happen, as it did exactly 30 years ago. Your event and that hulk copper mountain became gold in your hands. Copper turned into gold in your hands, and you wrote your name into the history, not just of your own country, illustrious as it is, but the even more illustrious history of the working class movement into which I was born and remain a part. I come among you from another land, speaking another tongue, but I am a part of you and you are a part of me. That's the reality that was demonstrated that day. Brother Mark, if nobody else, will be familiar with the epic work of St. Augustine, the wonderful book, City of God. In the preface to the book, St. Augustine describes an encounter on the high seas between so-called Alexander the Great and a pirate ship captain. Alexander orders the pirate ship to halt and demands of the captain, "How dare you terrorize these waters as a thief?" And the pirate captain answers, as Mintoff would have answered, "How dare you, with your great navy, terrorize the whole world and call yourself an emperor? Call yourself an emperor." And was that not what was happening right here 30 years ago? The British could not believe that a place they held as a possession in their pocket, people they regarded as their subordinates, people that they owned, that place and those people said no to the Royal Navy and its Jolly Roger sailing the seas and calling themselves emperors. This event was important because it asserted the national independence and sovereignty of Malta and the Maltese people, that they would no more, never again, be ordered around by foreigners, however big their guns, however big their ships. And that lesson needs to be relearned by each succeeding generation. Because you see, there is no independence, there is no sovereignty if you do what you're told, even without the guns, even without the ships. Malta has a fine constitution. I wish we had a constitution. We call ourselves a constitutional monarchy, but actually we have no constitution, still less one that has written in it those magnificent words that were quoted earlier in this meeting. But there's no point in claiming that you are neutral. There is no point in claiming that you are non-aligned if you go along with every war, every invasion, every occupation, every group of sanctions on every country that the empire decides to sanction. And on the level of the working class movement, national sovereignty, and on the level of the fight against war, guerra contra guerra, war against war, your magnificent stand that day, all of you admirals, captains of the fleet, as I say, made history, and you should be proud of it, and I'm proud to be addressing you on this occasion today. Those were the days. So what are we, a history society? Are we merely a commemorative society? Have those who came after us made the world a better place? Is everything working well in the world? Is the danger of war, including nuclear war, receding or advancing? Labour was once led by Mintoff, by Bonici. Are the people leading Labour around the world today, with the exception of Britain, where my comrade Jeremy Corbyn stands for exactly the same things as Bonici and Mintoff stand for. But elsewhere in the world, the so-called New Labour, the so-called Third Way, is it a success? Is it working well? From Yugoslavia, through Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Yemen, even in South America, Brother Mark, be ready. NATO has just concluded new and higher arrangements with Colombia. Why? Is Colombia in the North Atlantic? Is what happens in Colombia any threat to you here in Malta? No, because they are preparing to confront the socialist government in Venezuela using NATO as the spearhead. Just yesterday, on the anniversary, imagine, on the anniversary of Operation Barbarossa, when the Nazi hordes poured into the Soviet Union through Ukraine, NATO announced an imminent war game in Ukraine involving 10 NATO military powers on the border with Russia. They say Russia is a threat. Look how close Russia has placed itself to all these NATO bases around the world. The danger of NATO to the peace of the world is clear and present. It's clear in the Baltic states. It's clear in Poland. It's clear in Georgia. Now it's clear in Ukraine. It's clear Very soon, trust me, you heard it here in Valletta, against Venezuela in Latin America. There is no neutrality. There is no national sovereignty if we can be led into war after war after war by these political pygmies. Some of them are big pygmies. Donald Trump is a big man, a giant with the mind of a child and his finger on the button of thousands of nuclear weapons. Only 2 have ever been used. 1 bomb from 1 aeroplane on Hiroshima incinerated 100,000 people, like that. And the after effects were to be found in the maternity wards of Japan for generations thereafter. 1 bomb, 1 aeroplane, 1 second. It worked so well that a couple of days later they dropped another. 1 bomb, 1 aeroplane, 1 second, incinerating another 85,000 people in a second. Imagine. But imagine this. Today's nuclear bombs are hundreds of times more powerful than those 1 bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These nuclear bombs will bring about the permanent end of all life on this planet. They campaign to save the whale. They campaign to save the environment. They campaign to save the grasslands and the rainforests, while we are in possession of thousands of weapons that will turn the entire planet to dust and ash. But even war short of nuclear war, you don't have to look to Latin America. You don't even have to look to Baghdad. Just across there in Libya, NATO, led by Britain and France, dragging actually the United States deeper into the quagmire, as Blair did in Yugoslavia also. What happened to Libya? Now there's no Libya. Now there's 3 Libyas, 5 Libyas, 7 Libyas. I saw a report in the Malta Times yesterday talking about some guy who calls himself the Prime Minister of Libya. And the report, to be fair to it, explained that, well, he's the Prime Minister from one of the parliaments in Libya, not the recognized parliament and the recognized Prime Minister. And there's a 3rd Prime Minister. There's a 3rd parliament. There's a 4th Prime Minister. Without a parliament, I don't know how that works. Libya is now 3, 4, 5 Libyas. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, one head-chopping, heart-eating bunch of Islamist fanatics or another, take your pick. And Libya, when it was destroyed, blasted open a door onto the Mediterranean, and they complain about illegal immigrants. But these immigrants are fleeing through doors that they blew open and fleeing from wars which they launched and are continuing to prosecute. So we're not a historical society. We're not here just to remember. We could be. It would be nice to be. We could enjoy our retirement if those who came after us were making such a success of the world. But in fact, their record is reckless, never-ending failure and danger. That is why, on this day, we should rededicate ourselves to the cause of labor, which, as Rosa Luxemburg said, the cause of labor is the hope of the world. And I'd go further. And Prime Minister, you'll be with me, I know, in this. The same Rosa Luxemburg said, the choice for the world is socialism or barbarism. Socialism or barbarism. That remains the choice in the world today. I salute you all.